So, welcome back to Film Study, an All-American podcast with Lexi. And like I said, this is not just going to be about episode reviews, but we're going to get into character analysis, character breakdown. And so, listen, Monda and I got so excited that we started talking about season 3 and specifically Spencer and Olivia in season 3 and where their relationship is at right now. And so I hope you enjoy this bonus episode where we discuss what Olivia knows about Spencer's love for her. Like, does she really think that he's in love with her? And we're gonna discuss that and just where they are in their relationship up to about episode 10 or 11, which we're at now. So I hope you enjoyed this little bonus conversation we have for you. All right, listen. So we got off that call about episode 11, and then we started talking about Spencer James and his love for Olivia. And we're just gonna talk about it because we have a lot of thoughts as far as he is in love with Olivia. We know that. He is deep in love with Olivia. They are deep in love with each other.
This boy don't know where he's coming and going. He's in love. Like, he can't function.
He does not. Back to episode 9, he didn't know what to do with himself after Liv ran off. He was scrambling to go home and scrambling to get back to his mom's house and all of that stuff. But let's talk, because this is specifically a comment that I have posted pretty frequently over the past couple of weeks. I think since Vegas episodes, so since episode 7, and then sort of coming back up with episode 9 and what she did. And this is not to say that Liv does not have faults. Liv has plenty of faults. I will get into that, but here's the question. Here is the question that we want to ask. What of Spencer's love has Olivia really seen?
Lordy.
Just in a can you touch on that? Because I have thoughts. But
Lordy. Can we start from like the beginning of the season?
Let's start from the beginning of the season. You want to go to season 2? I mean,
we're going to start at the beginning of the season because he professed his love over the summer in Vegas. When you and I both go, where did this come from, bruh? Like, we're confused.
And not only you and I feel like the audience as a whole was shocked. Let's start there. The audience as a whole was shocked to hear Spencer confess. Not that he had feelings for her, not that he liked her, but that this man, not even necessarily that he like cares or like loves her or has love for her, but that he not only loves her, but he is actively in love with Olivia Baker. We were shocked.
I was shocked that I rewind that like 5 times. So I think
maybe some people weren't shocked, but I was shocked.
I was very much shocked. And for us to come to that, and so they do that. She says, "Sorry, Spencer," because she had every right. I don't care what nobody says. She has every right to make that decision to walk away.
Every right. And again, if we were shocked, I just want to put that out there before you go on. If we were shocked, imagine the character's reaction, because we're the audience and we see everything from an outsider's perspective. But being in it, think about that. So go ahead. Sorry.
So she leaves. He was shocked that she left. Because, oh my gosh, he thought he read the room right. He got this kiss. Him and his best friend is about to do this.
He was just like, I followed this woman's advice to a T. She told me, get her something. What did she say?
Get her something that she knows she'll like. And
she'll love whatever you get her. You're a take charge kind of guy, so take charge. He took charge.
He took charge.
I really felt bad for him in that moment. This man followed her advice to a T.
And he fumbled the ball at the goal line, basically.
He fumbled it? How did he fumble it?
So, and the thing is that, and I say that is because even though he followed everything to the T that she said, he fumbled it in not realizing who his best friend is. And knowing
he got sidetracked by his love for her, that he forgot who Olivia Baker.
He forgot who she was. he forgot who she was and her heart
She
and how
said,
she
I
cared.
said to do all of these things for Layla.
Layla.
I said nothing about myself.
So,
That is,
right.
Liv will give great advice to other people and then
Right.
not take it herself. Like, that
Right.
is one of
She
her
was
flaws.
she's like, that was for the other girl, not
She was
me.
like, I did not say that for me, sir. What do
Right.
you think this is?
Right. And she's like, I have others I have to care for. And one in
Yeah.
particularly is somebody who I have a relationship with, which I really didn't think her and Asher had a relationship, but okay, she honored that.
It's a facade. It was a facade.
It was a facade. And then two, she did not want to do to Layla what she did in season 1. She did
Her
not want
best
her.
friend. I'm adding that for people who.
Yeah, she likes to add that. It's nice that I call her Layla because people who listen like I can't believe I'm calling her Layla. So
Yeah. I will admit, audience, this is a big deal that she is calling Layla Layla. Like, this is huge.
it's huge. And so when she leaves, he's like out of his mind, like, oh my gosh, this happened.
When she leaves after she kisses him back,
Right.
we gotta add that in.
Yeah,
Like, he thought he had this in the bag. She kissed him back.
He tells me like, let's grab your happiness no matter what. She says, sorry, Spencer.
And so I want to add this too.
Yes.
Sorry, I'm keeping thinking
this
about
is
this too.
good.
Not only did she kiss him back, but I really truly believe he got the confidence to do all of that because she came to Vegas. She came to Vegas at the drop of a hat.
For him.
She got her hair done for him. Only for him. This girl wasn't going nowhere. She was gonna, as we know now, she was going drink some vodka in her room and be fine.
So he was like,
But she got her hair done, those tiny little micro braids.
and she came to be with her best friend. She's
That
like,
/ her man. She said, my man wants me to be here.
I'm gonna come.
I'm gonna be here.
I'm gonna be here. So he was like, this is a cue to do what I need to do. She jets. He leaves the most heartfelt voicemail I have ever seen, Spencer James.
After the most heartfelt declaration of love, I don't even know when it happened, but I'm in love with you.
Right.
We love Spencer for that.
He goes, don't leave like this. I said, okay, so there's a knock on the door, and then it's your friend, because I'm not calling her my friend, and it's the other girl. And what does he do? He questions why she's there, right? And everything, because Coop's show was about to begin. And she's like, you waited for me, I love you. And then she proceeds to unbutton his shirt and start kissing on him. And it's then all of a sudden he clicked on, like, this woman wants me. Let me go all the way in.
He had a moment of confusion and then said, wow, Liv really just left me standing here. So, yep, this woman wants me. I promised that I would be there for her, but also, you know what? I'm in my feelings. So
And so I'm going to go ahead and do what I have to do. All the while,
I'm gonna do the PG-13 stuff.
All the while, his voice recording is in the background, and we're hearing all this stuff he's telling Liv. We're not a mistake.
Granted, she doesn't see any of this. To this day, we don't know if she saw it or not. I personally would have liked if she had gone anyway. But we don't. She hasn't seen any of this. All she knows is that he called her, asked her to come to Vegas. She came. They spent the day together. They had this moment at the wedding. He declared his love, and she did.
Right. And he goes, you coming here is not a mistake. Us kissing is not a mistake. Us being together will not be a mistake, Liv. I can say these words like by heart because I've seen this so many times.
And she called it a mistake.
Yeah,
she was out the door before he even declared his love.
Right.
I love that.
She was on the sidewalk. As she's on the sidewalk listening to this call with his necklace around her neck, he was undressing this other woman.
She wanted it so bad. She wanted to go back so bad.
And he's undressing this other woman. But he loves her though, right? Like, I'm trying to figure this out. Like, how you loving her and you undressing this other woman?
I care for Layla. But
you care so much you undressed her within 5 seconds after you
this
got the
man,
message.
this all happened within 2 minutes. She's not even in the cab yet, and he undressing this woman. What?
Because I always said, what if she had came back when you said don't leave like
what
this?
What if she had come back?
And she
that would have
came
been
back.
a fun scene.
That would have been so fun.
That would have been so fun to watch.
So watch. And everything. But, it came with game. It was like all of it. I would have been so in love with it. And so we fast forward. And it starts in episode 1. It's been 2 to 3 weeks since they've seen each other. Now, mind you, they are best friends. He got his heart broken. She has left. He has slept with the other girl.
She went to Mexico.
Oh yeah, she went
Asher.
to Mexico. See Asher.
Asher was building a little connection. She didn't know what she saw, but she looked very much like a relationship connection, a cheating situation.
Yeah, a very interesting situation.
So she went back home to drink some more and work on podcast stuff, and also find time to paint a Black Lives Matter label at the school.
Yes. Yeah, so she set up for her new student organization, which she became a president for. And we're at that moment. Before that, we got Spencer pulling Chris, his wingman, all of a sudden.
3 buses, right?
3 buses to come to Beverly Hills. And Chris was like, why are we doing this if you don't go to the school anymore? And he's like, it's important to live. And he's longingly looking at live. Oh. And he goes, it's a good cause, it's important to live. And he's longing at living. At the time, we don't know about Vegas. And at that,
we don't know about Vegas.
Right, at that moment.
Liv is looking back at him like, I was not expecting you to be in this place.
Right. And
let me sip some more of my vodka. I'm literally always going to get on her
right. And Jordan is the one who opened up his mouth of like what's going on and everything.
Yeah.
And so then we get Jordan and Spencer talking about the summer, and Jordan saying you went incognito after Vegas. Meaning he got his feelings hurt, no one knew, and everything. And he's looking longingly at Liv again, who's sipping on the vodka that at the time I thought was water, but she was sipping on the vodka. And then, of course, Simone had her baby, blah, 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 whatever. We're passing that over. So then Liv's on the steps, and this is the interaction that I love.
This is the interaction that within those first 5 minutes, fans were like, what is going to happen? Because this is the first episode of the season, so we're like, ooh. Yes. What did happen in between his arm going numb, him coming back to find her, his arm going numb, and this moment right now?
Right, and he goes, she's going, how's your arm? He's like, it's good. He goes, everything's okay, but you're avoiding me. And she was like, I didn't know you were checking for me.
I must have missed the part where you came looking for me.
And I said, what the heck just happened? And he was like, and then he was like, he said, I thought I'd give you some space. Now, what he didn't pick up on the time is when he said, I gave you some space. She did like a huff, and she was like, okay, space is right.
Space is the absolute correct call.
It's the correct call, sir, and we're gonna keep having space.
Yes, and so from this moment we see, so since Vegas, since he declared his love, he left a voicemail, radio silence, even though she could have called him, that's communication works 2 ways, but radio silence for 2.5, 3 weeks until he shows up that she didn't know at the Black Lives Matter thing, and he's like, you've been avoiding me. So, yeah.
And then we did Asher coming in. Asher comes in unexpectedly. And then what Liv does is something I still like, sis, what are we doing right now?
She was all the way messed up.
She was so messy in this situation because she left Spencer and jumped onto Asher.
Straddled this boy,
kissing on this boy.
Who she suspects is cheating.
Right. And then we get Spencer looking like a jealous fool. And I was like, okay, what really happened, sir? Because you are a little bit, your demeanor is not a best friend demeanor. It's a little bit like, it was like,
neither of their demeanors were a best friend demeanor, as we saw later. Because after she jumps on to Asher, then she and Asher were up in her room later on in that day or the next day or whatever. Spencer comes by, quote unquote, looking for Jordan.
Which he is full of crap because he knew Jordan was with Simone, but go ahead.
Quote unquote, looking for Jordan. Olivia and Ash were in the middle of whatever they were doing. Maybe some little PG-13 stuff of their own. And she comes down and she is fixing her shirt.
I still don't think that they actually did anything past.
I don't think that they did anything either. specifically because of what they
Yeah,
that line in
yes,
8 or whatever this happened 6, the line in 6 where she's like second
yeah,
species something. But yeah, she comes down fixing her shirt, and
yes.
there is just tension all over the place.
All over the place. Like, he was like, I'm sorry, I should have knocked. She's like, you have a key. He goes, this is not my home anymore. I said, sir. I said, when did Lord kick you out? Like, sir, what's the problem? Are we really?
This man really got so dramatic when he said, this is not my home no more.
And I said, I am confused. So then when Asher comes down, I instantly read that scene so quickly. I said, oh, he's pissed. I said, because he's looking, while he's talking to Asher, he's looking at Liv, trying to read Liv.
I wish I could go back and watch that for the first time, because when I saw that scene, I was like, they're not even paying attention to Asher at this moment. Like, they are literally staring at each other in this moment. Liv feels guilty about something.
Right.
And Spencer is not pleased, and she's just like, oh shoot, I messed up.
Right. And he stayed like reading her, like, are we really doing this right now?
Are we really doing this
right now? And so as he talks to Asher and pretends like he's actually paying Asher some attention, he decides to go to the door. She follows. She's like, is everything okay? Asher goes into the kitchen. He goes, everything's fine.
She tells this man 1 second. It was literally like Spencer and Olivia were a thing, and Asher was just there
on
at
the
this
sidelines,
point.
just there. And so Spencer goes.
Asher's like, oh, I guess I've got to go get myself some milk and cookies or something, because clearly you two have something to talk about.
Right. And so Spencer goes. He goes, no, but he goes, as you said yesterday, space, right? And he hands over the key.
Space.
I said, you will never.
In her face was
like,
whew,
it was just like,
I messed it all the way up.
So at that point, I still have not seen him show love for her, like show how he was in love with her, right? He's still like,
not since Vegas, not since the initial declaration, because again, didn't let her know that he was coming. Waited until sort of Asher got back or whatever. He didn't even ask about Summer up until that point. And then the next time that they were in the same vicinity together, right? What does she see?
Him tonguing down Layla like nobody's
Your favorite
business.
thing.
Like, I mean, tonguing this girl down in front of everybody in the hangout to see. But what's interesting was before he did that, though, he looked through the window and Asher and Jordan is in there. And you can see his face. And so he knows it's like Asher's in there. Liv has to be there somewhere.
I truly think that he saw Liv.
Yeah.
I'm going to put that on him. I think he saw Liv.
Because that kiss was too dramatic. Like, that kiss was
too
long.
dramatic.
It was long.
Because,
I was like...
And again, Layla wasn't even checking for Spencer that hard. She was just like, we had something in Vegas. I don't know what it was. And so we know that Spencer wasn't his normal self and sort of checking in after the fact. So we know that it happened, and he wasn't really clear about what it was. And so she was just like, hey, can we talk about what it was? Like, no pressure, no nothing. She even said, like, Vegas wasn't a big deal. And he is the one that said Vegas was a big deal to me. It was a big deal to him, as we found out, because he got rejected.
Right. And I think it was a big deal to him too, because in the sense of not just with her, but for what he thought it would have been with Liv. And so in that sense, it was like this big deal thing.
Oh, that's what I'm saying. Like, it was a big deal to him, for sure. And so he is making out with Layla in front of the hangout, and that is what Liv sees.
And they go in.
They go in. He's like, this is now, he doesn't follow up for 3 weeks. Right. He's just like, you've been avoiding me. Right. He says, this is not my home anymore. Right. He says, he is kissing Layla. Right. And then, what does Layla tell Liv?
Oh, this started in Vegas, and we connected, and Liv was like, oh,
you and Spencer, huh? Yeah. Mm-hmm. I missed a lot.
But yeah, he tells Liv, I love you, and I'm in love with you, and I just care for Layla.
And then this woman finds out, oh, me and Spencer got together in Vegas. Vegas? She said Vegas?
Yeah. Okay.
I missed
she turned and looked at him while he's shooting pool. Like, this fool for real? Like, okay. And then, of course, everyone talks about the fateful fight between Jordan and Spencer, and we both was like they were getting their aggressions out of like
because everything that mutually happened.
Right.
His whole wife is having a baby; he can't be there.
All that stuff. And so we think, okay, everything is fine. And then what happens? Spencer and the rest of the James family goes to the house for dinner. This boy not only comes to dinner, but he sits directly across from Liv.
Directly across, and they were exchanging looks. This was on both of them. They were definitely being Spencer. They were being Spencer and Olivia.
Yep, exchanging looks, as if no one else is at the table but the two of them exchanging.
Their family has that's real. If Nurse Joy knows, right? Like at this point, if Nurse Joy knows,
I think they're a little bit oblivious. I think they're still a little bit.
No, they are oblivious, but I'm like, y'all just don't be paying attention. Like, this is weird. They literally. Olivia, I remember watching that episode, and I was just like, Olivia is being so vulnerable right now. But like Spencer, I felt like I was actually when they were sitting down was kind of calm and sort of just like taking in everything, but still looking at her. But Olivia was just like, you know what I mean?
Right, like it's that moment we're here and at this moment, and he gets up and tells Billy about his arm. She follows and takes her dishes, and then she says, "My dad's
she follows
right."
and takes her. No, she follows Spencer. She knew what she was doing.
My sister's good when she wants to be. She knows what she wants to do.
Is hilarious.
And she goes and she says, "My dad's right. Everything was going to be okay." And so she goes in what I call to be a comfort hug. Initially, a comfort hug. So she goes in, because they do the hugs. Like, she's been hugging this boy.
She again, very comfortable in the friend role.
Yes. Like, hugging him since season 1, episode 3. I know it to be fact. And so, she goes and gives
him... now that I'm thinking about it, I'm like, that had to be also a little bit of... Again, her sort of unconsciously going back to when he said, "This isn't my home anymore."
Right, like, right.
That like I am still there for you.
I'm still your friend.
Yeah, I'm still your friend, but her being like, I'm still so in love with this guy.
Right, and so she's used to like hugging him, very like her hug. And then once she's comfortable, he goes in for what my friend calls the hug around the world. She's like, I don't even watch this show, and it popped up on my Twitter feed. Like she was like, what is this?
It was a tension-filled, wonderful moment.
Right.
They just melt. That was a layered hug.
That was a layered hug. And then she realizes this is too much. And so she pulls away.
She tries to back away.
And then that's when he grabs her and says, "We're not going to talk about the summer." And
he ain't going to talk about it?
And I said, but I was like, so you just toned Layla down like hours ago.
And that's the thing, like, knowing what we know now, we understand both sides, right? But we're focusing on Liv's side right now, because it's just like, sir, you ignored me, or whatever. We have not talked, let's say that. Nobody ignored anybody. We have not talked for 3.5 weeks. The moments that we have talked, it's been very much not chill.
Right.
And then I saw you making out with my best friend, who you just told me not to worry about, basically. And now you're going to ask me, we're not going to talk about summer. Now you're going to ask me that. And so the next time, go ahead.
Well, which is so fitting for that scene, because as he's looking at her, she's looking to the left of him like, fool, please, we are not having this conversation.
Not right now.
Now we're not at all.
And then we get to the next episode, their next interaction. Again, he is being an entire... She was trying to be... Now, I said he was more chill sort of in the dinner scene, sitting down. She was more chill, trying to mind her business. In this next scene, when they're at the hangout, and she's talking to Layla, he comes over. He's getting off of his shift. He comes. Liv is kind of ignoring him. So what does he do?
He decides that while he's looking at her, he decides he's going to kiss Layla.
Looking straight at Layla needs to pop this boy, because looking straight at Liv, like
I know you see me?
It was a looking turn. Like, his eyes weren't even on Layla.
Like, I know you see me. He kisses Layla and then proceeds to say, bye, Liv. Looks at her and say, bye, Liv, and walk out. Like, you are extra petty right now, sir. Extra petty.
Extra petty. Extra petty.
And I'm like, at what point is she still supposed to know that you love her? And where's her friend in this? Like, I'm trying to figure you all out right now. Because you're moving away.
What we've seen is jealousy more than we've seen love.
Right, and I was like, I need to figure out what the heck are you doing. And so, and then we come to the date from hell, basically. Liv's trying to, like, avoid Asher, so she gets onto Jordan's date.
Liv was doing all that she could to Liv which again, she was not sober, so that is a thing, but she was all the way messed up at the beginning of the season, because it was just like, you didn't get with Spencer, which you were valid to do, you were valid and, within your rights to do, but you are then going to go back to Asher, you're not even going to talk about you don't even want to talk to Asher, period. You don't want to be alone with this man. You would willingly go on a date, on a double date with Jordan and Simone, who 3 weeks ago, you were like, I do not want to be around them. I'm playing kissy face, blah, 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 blah. She was going to endure that to not talk to Asher.
Right. And then roll up and Layla and Spencer's there.
And she stayed. She stayed. Jordan left. She had the opportunity to leave.
Right.
But she stayed because she that much did not want to talk to her. It was ridiculous.
Right. And so then you see Asher doing his little thing with his little plaything. And you have Layla
with little Miss, the Asher I met over summer.
Oh, that girl gets on my last nerve.
Wild. Vanessa is wild.
Then you have Asher then you have Layla and Liv talking about watching the two of them. And Liv was like, you're getting a kick out of this. Layla's like, won't you just talk to him about what happened?
Yeah, because again, as we know, Layla noticed something was off between Olivia and Spencer, and that's when Olivia told her half the truth about what happened in Mexico.
Right.
So Olivia and Spencer are being so awkward that Layla is starting to notice, and boom, and then we have this whole four date
thing, and Liv was like, I have my reasons. Spencer rolls his happy self up. He is so devious.
Have my reasons while staring at Spencer.
Right, and Spencer proceeds as Liv walks away, proceeds to kiss Layla on the back, but then looks at Liv walk away. He sits down.
It's so messy.
He goes, I've read the room. And he goes, Liv's avoiding Asher. Asher's paying more attention to the new girl. What's going on? And he basically gets information
from his girlfriend
about the girl
for the girl that he wants to be. It's ridiculous. Like, people are just like, oh, he was so hurt. Like, all of this. This boy is out here plotting for real.
He was plotting.
And then, again, they had been awkward the couple times that they had seen each other, aside from the comfort hug that you call. And, Olivia comes up, he's playing pool by himself, and she's just like, can I play? And what is the first thing that exits this boy's mouth in front? Everybody is still on this date. It's not like they're alone together.
Right.
And he's just like, doesn't even let her break the stack in pool before saying,
Ash and a new girl.
That guy that you left me for.
And he got a new girl. And so what is this? What is this? And so she was like, Layla told you. And then he had the audacity to try to check her. And was like, you went to Mexico?
You didn't tell me?
You didn't tell me?
And you didn't, sir! When was she supposed to tell you that? You didn't even follow up with her. Anyway, again, communication goes both ways. Right. Y'all been avoiding each other.
Right.
Y'all been avoiding each other.
Right. And she goes...
But she was supposed to be like, Spencer, I left and...
I went to Mexico. Oh, and as Liv said, and by the way, you didn't tell me that you and Layla hooked up after I left.
Oh!
I said, checkmate.
I want a rehash of that conversation, knowing we didn't get to realize the full impact of that.
Well, you get a rehash of that conversation in the scene that
You
I'm
think so?
developing.
I don't know.
I'm developing a scene of a rehash of that
Oh,
conversation.
you're saying, you're gonna
you'll
say
get
it.
it in
Because
that
we
way.
don't know if we're getting this on the screen. Even though we deserve
that
it.
We deserve that one. Because
We deserve it. Because they need to talk about what's going on. Like,
right.
they have been through too much between what happened in Vegas, what happened post Vegas, and obviously the crash. Like, they need to talk about their newfound issues.
Right, and where they are, because he was like trying to talk about Summer, and she says, "I want to put Summer behind us, all the secrets," and then she said,
all the mistakes that he explicitly said was not a mistake. This girl had lost her mind, but she was like, "I know this boy did not try to come for me about Asher when he did what he did."
Right.
So again, in her mind, right, it's been awkward. It's been, again, and some of that is due to her, but in her mind, it's been awkward. And in her mind, he's been sort of jealous or petty, depending. And petty enough for her to say, "I have my reasons for why I'm staying with Asher."
Right.
Or jealous enough, or just weird enough, right, for her to say all of that. And then again, we just see, like, why didn't you tell me this thing? Oh, like, you omitted the truth?
Right. Like,
about what happened with you and Layla. You didn't tell me.
And then he's like, "I just want to see you happy." And then she says the line that everybody was like...
She's sick.
She's savage when she needs to be, though. He was poking.
She is savage when she needs to be, but this was absolutely sick of her.
But he kept poking at her, so
she did, and she's not sober. She wasn't sober at the time, so she had been very savage at the beginning of season 3. And I'm like, sober Liv is not. Once we found out she wasn't, so I was just like, she's going to be.
Like, "Are you happy?" I said, "Wow."
What about you? Honestly, in that point when Spencer said, "I just want you to be happy," I was like, that's a nice thing to say. Like, that is a very much like love thing to say.
I thought that was I called that bull. Because remember in Vegas, when we saw Vegas, her happiness, he believes, with him.
No, I know, yeah, I know, but I was just but in the moment, I was just like, he is trying to look at, like, he's trying to say, like, even if we don't talk about what's happening over summer, I want you to be happy.
Oh, you saw it like that. I still called it bull, because I knew something like
that. No, now knowing what I know now, I still think he was very much plotting. It was a mix of her actually wanting to be happy and him being like, "Are you for real? This is everything that you want."
Right, and because he also plotted in episode 4. He plotted heavy in episode 4.
Yeah.
He let's reconnect as friends. Like, remember who we were.
So they end on that note.
Right.
She had him scrambling the rest of the night. Again, Layla noticed again that there was something going on with them too, because she shut down the conversation, and I think rightfully so in that moment, because they were on it with other people, and he was seriously trying to hash out everything that went down in Vegas and post in that moment.
Right.
And so anyway, the next time that they see each other, they are a little less awkward.
Because he decides to make her laugh. And he also says...
I always go back to Twitter just because they have the best comments. Somebody was just like, "I cannot believe this man must really be in love because he complimented those shoes. They were not for the shoes. They were like, the shoes were ugly." I don't know what he was talking about. I didn't think the shoes were that bad, but the streets are saying the shoes were ugly.
I don't think they were that bad. I think he was trying to get his way in any way he could.
He was trying to any way he could. He was dancing to make this girl laugh.
Right, he was trying whatever he could to bring back, like, what he believed was the core of who they were. It was the friendship. And we've been through a lot. I miss my friend. But the funny thing is, before he, says, "I miss my friend," he highlights the year, but he also highlights the summer. He's like, "I know the summer made it." Like, you didn't have to bring up the summer, but you did that intentionally, to put that in that nugget for her. And he got her to admit that she missed her friend, and he got a hug from her, which he's like, that's their thing. He got a hug,
which was a very nice parallel to when she said that she missed her friend in season 1.
And so it was really nice. And so then she goes in and asks again, like, how is he doing? How's his arm? And he tells her what the the therapist stated that it was related to Snyder's shooting, and she, feeling very remorseful, apologizes and saying, like, you are suffering the aftermath of this, you know. And then he decides he gonna take this I miss my friend one step further. So he grabs the hand, and she tries to pull her hand back from him.
Before she tries to pull back, though,
Yes.
again after seeing Post Vegas,
Yes.
he grabs her hand. She looks down at her hand.
Yes, she
looks
does.
at his lips.
Right. She did do that. Someone else
She's
pointed
remembering
that out.
something.
She's
remembering something from Vegas.
And then she pulls back. She tries to pull back, but he moves with her.
Yeah, she tries to pull back.
And he moves with her slightly.
I remember that. I was like, ooh.
And he goes,
and I do it again.
And when he said that, Twitter, social media, everybody went crazy. And they were like, oh, I know what I do it again. And they thought it meant more sexual, of like what they did over the summer and all this stuff. And I was like, no, this boy's declaring his love. I was like, he's declaring his love. And
which he had just basically declared his love to the therapist and then denied that he was in love.
Right. And I said, he's declaring his love right there in the middle of this open spot. Because he had not let this girl hand go. He's staring her down.
Because we're about to get to episode 6. Yeah, they didn't see each other in 5.
Right.
I was just like, had Asher or Layla come in, they would have had much more reason to be jealous for that alone. Because they were pretty close.
Like, would not let her hand go until his coworker brought her
If
food.
that food had not come...
Yes, he was still staring at that girl. Still staring.
My face right now was like, if that food had not come... Yes.
He was trying to get his point across.
They are friends. They're back. Friends, but can you really be friends when both of you are in love with each other?
Yeah, what that is.
Even though Liv hadn't like vocally declared her at this point. But yeah, they're friends again. We flash forward to episode 6, the cabin episode, and she in the beginning he's going obviously to clean up his dad's stuff. She tells Layla about her man. She's just like, my man is at the cabin.
Like, he should not be there by himself.
My/your man, but really mine.
He should not be there by himself.
He should not be. She checked Layla on her. They were straight disrespectful.
He was like...
Inventing emotional cheating.
Right, and so got the whole crew to come. Even Vanessa, however she got there.
She did not want Vanessa to come. She was totally fine if Vanessa did not come.
And it was interesting because, like, Layla, like, Spencer hugs Layla, then Spencer thanks Layla for bringing the crew there.
Everybody there,
for him
Layla was just like, I knew I shouldn't have, and then he was just like, actually, no, this was a good idea, and she was just like, oh, well, it was Liv.
And then he looked over, and Liv is with Asher, and he gives that slight look over. And then we don't see them again until he's reading these letters.
From his dad, yeah.
From his dad. That scene was, like, poetic.
It was just, and the thing is, you just knew because when Layla came over and told him, she honestly, she gave him the choice of whether to read the letters. She was just like, you don't have to decide now. Right. But I was just like, Liv is gonna come give this man the exact opposite.
Right, and she
did.
And she did.
And she did. But I will say, he started reading the letters even before.
Right, he read the first letter. He was like, he didn't want to go on because of that.
And then Liv was just like, boy, go meet your father through these letters.
Like, your dad has changed. Cute. Right. She was like, he's changed, and you want to get to know who he is.
That was really good advice.
Yeah. And she's like, and this is your time to connect with him. And, like, you could see, like, the love he had on his face for her. Like if he could say "I love you" at that moment, and it'd be okay with, he would have.
She very much in this episode. She was the purpose was to be there for Spencer, and if anybody achieved that purpose,
she
her.
did.
Like if nobody else did, really, it was her who achieved that purpose, which was to be there for Spencer.
And then we get the whole never have I ever situation. And in the Never Have I Ever, they said, never have I ever fell in love.
One thing that Vanessa did right.
Right. Never have I ever told somebody I love them to get them in bed. And then so Spencer's like, he never did that. And then it cuts, like, Jada's like, you're lucky, Layla. But then it cuts to Liv.
To Liv's face?
And
I am going to be totally honest. I thought it was a fake out. I thought this was like they're just doing that to build up the drama. But nope, this man really actually
told her, "I love you." And what's also interesting is that there was a scene where a point where Simone opened up her big mouth and said about Vegas, and he said, "Go ahead and take a drink, Olivia, and things." And you and I had a debate on Zoom whether or not it was Jordan or whether it was Spencer who said it. And and it was actually Spencer. I went to listen. Okay. It was Spencer. I listened to it like 5 times yesterday. I was like, that is actually Spencer who said, like, move on.
Spencer,
like,
yeah. Okay, so Jordan was the one that was just like, hey, chill, Ashley.
Yes, just chill, Ashley. But it was Spencer who's moving on. So you get this moment, right? And then we see Vegas. We see Vegas all play out. Right?
Yeah.
And so up until then, we have not seen Spencer show his also love for this girl.
This is what I'm saying. Up until Never Have I Ever, we don't really get, we don't get the evidence of that. Not the audience necessarily, because we saw him talk to his therapist, whatever. But Liv, as the character, does not see this broad love. Right. Maybe when he said I'd do it again. Maybe when he said I'd do it again.
But other than that, he has not done much to show.
But other than like Never Have I Ever, which again is sort of shaky. So you can count that as one, like the re-declaration that I do it again, the Never Have I Ever reveal or whatever, where she was smiling. She's sick for smiling from the Layla like that, because I know Layla was sitting there thinking like, this man hasn't said he loves me since we've been back together. I know that happened. I have a feeling that he did not say those words.
I don't think he said it either.
I don't think he said it either, which is why she gave that little look where she was just like,
And so then he tells Layla everything about Vegas, including what he said about Liv and everything. Yeah. Which I thought at one point he was going to admit some stuff. But he's told me with his whole chest.
Thought he was going to... I thought we were gonna get his side of Vegas. I thought we were gonna get Liv's side of Vegas, and we just got Vegas.
We just got Vegas, and it is what it is. And then we get Liv tells Liv. I always say this: Liv goes and sees him in Crenshaw, and that's after he sent that text. And that text that he sent, I tell people this: that text wasn't just like, "Hey, how you doing? I haven't heard from you in 2 weeks." It was like basically,
it was like, "So we doing this or not?
Are we doing this or not?" She know, he know, what's good.
Like, you ain't with Asher anymore. I'm not with Layla anymore. You already know the deal.
What's good? Let's do this. What's good?
Which is what. Anyway, I'm not even gonna get into that, but. Oh no, I'm gonna get into it. Which is why it was so crazy that he was just like, I already told you how I felt, and I didn't know if it was because you didn't feel the same. Boy, you know she feel the same way. Get out of here.
You just didn't get what you wanted in that moment.
In the moment, right? Because if he really felt like yes.
Didn't get it in the moment. She admits to you she loves you in the car. Y'all hold hands. You tell her to pull over the car. Y'all get in an accident. Blah 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 blah. We go on the haywire of episode 9.
She is deep in her relapse. She was messy, manipulative. Manipulative, lying.
And the one part that I can say that Spencer showed his love for her is like telling her parents the truth.
Yes.
That is where you can say, yes, Spencer showed his love for Liv.
Twice.
Well, he loved twice. He did that in that moment.
He showed her love.
Yep, and so he showed her love in that sense. And then so you and I have talked about this ending scene.
Yes, because I did not say this about episode review because it took me a couple days to think about it. But I'm like, this is my percentage.
Go ahead.
Spencer did 99% correct in that episode. 99% was fully there with him, was feeling for him, was like, this girl is gaslighting him, all of this stuff.
Right.
1%.
Yes.
1% incorrect.
Yes.
In that he did not reassure this girl of her. We see I'm gonna call it something. Even though she was drunk, even though she might have been trying to manipulate him, at least she sort of attempted to reassure her. She was just like, I want you to know, I didn't just whatever. I didn't just say I love you. I want to be clear about my feelings or whatever. Even if it was a manipulative reassurance, whatever. It was a reassurance. Spencer at the end she asked him to come with her. He says, you have to... She says, I need help. Right. I think she says, I need help. She's just like, I want to go... She says, I want to go home.
Right.
I want you to come with me.
Right.
Now, if an addict is saying that to you and you're the first person... you are the first person that this addict is like admitting that they need help to, and you're just like, no, you have to do it by yourself.
I
It's
was
just it's just up in the air. And like, he did not need to go with her. That's not
right.
what I'm saying.
Nope, he
He
did
didn't
not.
need to drive her. He did not need to go home with her. None of that. A hug is free. He didn't
Right.
even need to hug her in that moment.
Nope.
But it like texting her parents, texting Jordan, calling his mom to go and drive her home. You don't know if this girl has been drinking. You're talking about her driving drunk, and she. Well, how did she get there? She drove, so you don't know if she's drunk or not. And so like, just he let her walk out the door without ensuring somewhat of her safety, even if he
Right.
didn't have to be a part of it.
Right. Right.
He just and then she was just like, so are you, before that it was the whole, are you done with me? And he was rightfully
Right.
upset, but literally the only reassurance that he gave was, are you gonna be okay? Now this boy did not know if he was gonna see her for
Right.
the she could have been shipped off to rehab for the next day. They couldn't have seen each other for 3+ months, and so he just let her walk out the door with just being like, you know, you're not coming with me because I did this to you, and you're done with me. Yeah, she thought he was done with her.
Right. I said in that moment in that scene, Liv friend left the room.
Yeah.
Her friend was nowhere to be found. And if nothing else, I had expected her friend to be there. And
I expected, because we saw him early in the episode with Grace when she was
Right.
like, she's not herself. This is
Right.
the addiction. It's an illness. But we did not see this is an illness.
Right.
We didn't see this is an addiction. This was, you drove us drunk, which she did
She did.
again. But she has been relapsed for months. Everybody
Right.
is realizing for
Right.
the first time, and this is the first time she's admitting help. She came to you, and you were just like, no, you're doing it by yourself.
Right. And
That just is, it's strange. It's strange.
It is because if nothing else, what I always loved about the two of them is that they were friends first.
Exactly.
The core of them was their friends, and they cared about their happiness, and they cared about each other's safety, and they cared about each other's process as they were going to the next stage, right? And at that point, while he cared about her process and knowing she could do it on her own, he left that room completely as her friend and was only there as the guy who loved her.
Yeah.
And experienced that. And I don't think at this moment he knows how to deal with both, right?
To balance that, yeah.
To balance that out, like, how do I be her friend?
And Grace was projecting a little bit
Right.
onto him.
Yeah,
which is why he's so
Grace
angry,
definitely was. But he doesn't know how to navigate how can I be her friend and be the man she loves and be the one who's in love with her. Because that's why we now get this awkwardness around them, and he and he doesn't know how he comes and goes because he's like, that's my friend, but I can't talk to her because she's also the girl I'm in love with, and she's the girl.
And she's also on the road to recovery. And how do we do this? Yeah.
Yes, and how do we do this? And so he to me has yet, and any of the Spencer lovers can come for me all day, every day, and I will, and I'm here for it. Is that he has not shown me in his ways of how much he's loved her since Vegas, post Vegas.
She not to her, not to her. I don't think.
Unless,
not apart from
apart from the dinner,
I'll do it again.
Yes.
Apart from the dinner, like you said, apart from the major ways in which we've seen with the tough love, with the dinner, and telling her parents, with the maybe with the do it again, and maybe with the never have I ever, but Liv didn't see Spencer crying because he couldn't go with her.
Right.
We as the audience saw that, but she did not. And so, we have to remember, what was it, 48 hours or 24 hours before all of that happened, she was telling Jordan there was no future for her and Spencer. And so she is still very new in thinking that this is a possibility. And so as soon as it's a possibility, she's just like, the one guy that I did not want to see me in this relapsed, addicted state is now the guy that I went to, and he is very, very upset with me, and it was me. I screwed up, and she did, but it was like, again, her friend left the room in that last 1% of the show.
Yes, and I really want, and I hope and Kingdom do this, but I'm not going to hold my breath. is over the next couple of episodes, like, have them build their relationship, like, back up as friends.
I think that they are. And that's why I loved getting to see her longing for him, and and him really, he didn't. If you notice, he didn't take her hand in this episode.
Right.
He touched her shoulder, because I think it really is like them discovering who to be in this state as she is recovering, and he is trying to focus on himself, which lasted one episode. Literally, he only focused on himself when Liv needed help the most, and then we haven't seen him focus on himself. Maybe a little bit in this episode, but
Nah, not really. But
this man didn't even tell George. Anyway, we're not gonna get into it, but like I said, he only focuses on himself when it comes to Liv needing help. I'm joking, people.
Yes, we are. She's joking. I may be slightly serious, but
I'm 1% serious.
But I want Olivia fans who probably pay attention to this to understand this, and I say this with my whole chest. I will forever love and always love Liv in her happiness and how she heals. And if Spencer James, and I call him Spencer James, is not his nickname, is that person, I'm here for it. But I will critique him and be on his neck if he seems to be out of pocket.
Just like we will critique her when she is out of pocket.
Oh, we definitely will.
Did. And Jason, I'm going to give you a shout out. And you see how many times we stepped in to say Liv was a mess, Liv messed up, Liv was not acting right.
Yes.
Because we come for Liv. We come for Liv too.
We come for Liv.
Even though she's my favorite character.
So
that is a rundown on the relationship thus far. And yeah, I think this episode really mapped out that they're really sort of starting to rebuild, right? And I said this in the comments a few days ago, but I was just like, definitely in season 3 we saw them being a little less gentle with each other and a little less caring and caring for each other. And so I think they're starting to rediscover that, and a lot of that had to do with her state being sober, but also just them sort of letting out all of this romantic tension that has been building up for 2 seasons. And so now they're unattached, and they're single together, and they're in limbo, and so we're seeing how they are in limbo.
Yeah, I say it's officially, unofficially single is what they relationship is.
We both say that, yeah.
Yes,
yeah,
that's
they're
what they are
unofficially single together.
Right.
Exactly.
This is
So
probably the end, right? Because we're running out of time. I just want to say this has been a pleasure. And I will see you in the comments, and I will see you in Zoom if we do some more of that. And I'm just ready for some more of this and what this is going to be. So
it's always so fun talking to you. Thank you again for listening and sticking with us as we just were wilding on this episode about Spencer and Olivia and breaking down where they are in their relationship. I just have so much fun with these conversations, and Wanda is hilarious. We'll definitely have her back on because we have the best time. So thank you again for listening. Hope you enjoyed it. Tune back in for the next episode of Film Study. All right, take care.